looking for something. A new way, a new understanding, a connection, some comfort. You've got questions, and Light on Living puts the spotlight on all the answers so you can shine. Lift and lighten the load of life's challenges and learn simple and easy ways to live a healthy, happy life. You'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you. You're invited to hear new, see different, and feel more as Lisa shines the light on living.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Light on Living. I'm your host, Lisa Berry, and we are jumping into the third of the fourth episode for this amazing series. I love unwrapping themes, and this is a great one because I think we need like 12 of them, but Lead Amazing Woman Lead is a book filled with just inspiring areas of your life in which we lead from, and then how we can lead better. So today we have two of the co-authors. We have Dena Breslin up first here, and this is the fifth and sixth essential power of mastering your mission. And Dena is doing the essential power to master your voice. And I'm going to give her a little quote and an intro here, but I'm going to welcome her onto the show first. Hello, Dena.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. You have, this one seems to have the, for me today anyways, like the most like energy around it, because we all do have a voice, and now it's a matter of how we use it. What are we saying? What are we doing?
So true. So true.
I'd like to go, I'm going to read your quote that goes along with this, and then a little bit about you, and then we'll dive right in. So, the essential power to master your voice. There was a time ago when our voice was stolen. Life's journey has brought us here. We must and can reframe those traumas and forgive. Now is the time to recover that voice and regain its power. From our true voice we lead. I love that. From our true voice we lead. Like, it's beautiful. I love that. And
thanks so much.
You're welcome. That is so inspiring. I'm going to ask you where that one came from. But everyone, Dena Breslin holds 25 years of experience in sales, marketing, leadership, and success coaching. A former physician assistant, Dena is still a passionate advocate for holistic and integrated health and wellness. Since 2009, she's been a top leader and founding member of Touchstone Crystal by Swarovski. Oh, I had to practice that one. The at-home jewelry division of Swarovski, U.S. Dena is certified by various coach schools and programs, including high-performance coaching and Train the Trainer, taught by esteemed mentors Brendon Burchard and Jack Canfield, respectively. Her practice includes one-on-one coaching, small business group workshops, and masterminds. Love masterminds. She's a single mother of 3 amazing teens, whom she says is truly her best, are her best teachers. Connect with Dena on Facebook, Instagram, and we're going to give you all those links and everything after. But Dena, your life sounds so full, and then we've got this voice. Why did you pick voice as the essential power in mastering your mission?
Well, it's so funny because I've actually been working on this process for the last couple of years myself, making sure that my leadership voice is specific and effective in terms of influence. And so that's it was kind of a no-brainer. I've been doing way more speaking engagements, writing. Obviously, this is the second chapter that we've worked on with Marsh, and that I've worked on with Marsh, and 2 beautiful books have come from it. So it's really something that it's been on my table for a few years now. And so I kind of went backward. I sort of reverse engineered where it came from, like why this is in front of me. And if I went far enough back, and which is what I did when I wrote this chapter, I realized that, all of us have different experiences through our life that change the course of what comes out of our mouth and what the thoughts that sort of precede what comes out of our mouth. And so that's what I did. I went back and I sort of reverse engineered it and took a look at the trajectory of how I got here today.
I love that. I love that you said you called it, it's like it has its own name, my leadership voice. And
Yeah.
how that is so true, because you're right. Like, as a mom, we get teased and we say, "Oh, you have a mom. She's got the mom voice on," or
Correct.
we have that authority. But specific and effective, fabulous words. Wow. To lead. Yes. Can you just talk about that? Why is it so important that we are specific and when we use a leadership voice?
Because, well, first of all, we have to lead ourselves. I think, last year when we spoke, I really wanted to make it that impact that we are a leader of one before we can lead anyone else. Mm-hmm. And we start by being connected to ourselves and to our thoughts and to our beliefs. But the reason why specificity and effectiveness is so important is because we can put out so much, and today we can be bombarded. We're all bombarded with lots of things happening, lots of voices, lots of opinions, lots of thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so we want to be real specific on what matters, what is important to say, what is vital to say in order to have lasting relationships, in order to strengthen and deepen relationships, and to have the sphere of influence that we really want to have in this world.
Oh, that was when you said vital to say. Oh my goodness, I touched on this in the live. Like, sometimes there are things that we wish we would have said, because that would have allowed a certain conversation or certain path, like we said, a course to take action or to unfold. Let's say, be created. Yeah. And so when you say about what is it? Okay, so I'll go the opposite. I like how you said reverse engineered. What does it sound like or look like when somebody is not using their true voice? What's the opposite? What if they're not using their true voice? What voice are they using?
They're using a fear-based voice, an egocentric voice, a voice from potentially their past that, we all have both voices. We all have both sounds in our minds. We have the true self, we have the ego self, and it sounds like fear-based, it sounds like you can't, it sounds like anger, it sounds like irritability, it sounds like shame, vulnerability, it sounds like bigotry, it sounds like racism.
Yeah, those judgments.
So judgment, it sounds quick, it sounds sharp. And most of the time, we are the first ones to hear ourselves think in these ways before we even do anything, before we even move or act or say anything. We're the first person that feels this sort of onslaught of those thoughts.
Yeah. Is that more of I wonder, because I'm thinking, yes, like we tend to do that, like quickly and first to ourselves and in there, and almost more so unless we've really practiced and worked really hard on this. But are we doing this to protect ourselves, or because it doesn't sound very protecting? It sounds really damaging. Was that?
Well, initially, that's so brilliant. That's so brilliant. Initially, that's where it came from when we were 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. We started to separate ourselves. We had this new autonomy from our parents, and the ego is a part of childhood evolution. Mm. It sort of gives us the safety net, the safety zones, if you will, and it guides us, where to go. That wasn't safe, and then we start to create, inform, and embed these subconscious beliefs that either some of us regain, we sort of regain our true self voice by our 20s, or we don't. And if we don't, then the layering of the ego voice and the fear-based stuff and the limiting beliefs and the doubt and low self-esteem just it can grow over time. And, it's really our life's journey, Lisa. I really feel like it's our life's journey to be aware and to hear and to listen, be good stewards of listening for our own self. Mm-hmm. So that we can be a good leader of ourselves, and not going down the paths of, things that are addictive, right? So lots of times ego will take us down paths that we didn't anticipate, whether it's overeating or whether it's pornography or anger or violent interactions with people we love. It's a lot. It could manifest and it can look like a lot of things as we become adults.
It's interesting. I'm imagining those, all of those pathways you just mentioned. I feel like we are curious about them, and we do tend to explore them. Like sometimes, I know when you're a little kid, I remember this because I can say this without too much judgment on myself. I remember testing my mom at sometimes, and I would say, "I hate you." I mean, I really didn't, but that I knew that was going to hurt her, and it made me feel poopy. But when you're little, you do explore certain things, and then I love that you said I don't know if the right word is our responsibility, but I want to say that. Like, I feel like it's our responsibility to check in and go, wow, was that productive? Was that good? Was that effective? Was that helpful to me? Did it uplift my heart or my light? Or
And a lot of times when we're that age and, preteen, teen, in our 20s, we don't even hear it or see it or recognize that we could have done that better.
right.
But it is our life, right? It's our life's journey, though. If pain is following us, and ego voice is the master voice, right? It shows up by your late 20s, your 30s. It really does show up, and
yes.
it can hit you over the head like a ton of bricks. But the point and the beautiful part of the chapter, and I give kudos to Marsh for inviting me to do this with her, and really to look back over where did my voice come from? But it really does come from looking at the robbers of the voice, looking at where all that kind of started in my life, and forgiving, and sharing that forgiveness, because forgiveness isn't just like, oh, I forgive them, and then living out the exact same way. Forgiveness is like as an ongoing process, and then gratitude. So forgiveness and gratitude toward the folks that maybe weren't at their best when I was at those formative years.
Yes, I love that you brought that up about forgive and gratitude. I have a big question about forgive, but I have to highlight, I love that question. Is pain following us? Like if somebody's looking at if anybody listening right now, if you just stop for 1 second and ask yourself, is pain following you? Because if it is, okay, like that's just a massive, awesome question. I love it. I'm highlighting that one right now. That's a good way to identify. The forgiveness piece. I love that you said that. It's like, we can say, well, I forgive you. Okay, I know I should. It's the right thing to do. And I'm supposed to feel better for doing it. But we don't. If we don't learn how to forgive, well, first of all, are we able to express our true voice if we do not forgive?
You can, but again, it's really the haunting thing that pain follows you. And, I look at it like, it's so interesting. I look at it like almost, because I'm a science person. And so I look at percentages, like what's the percent of the time that you're in your true self voice? And what's the percent of the time that you're not? And I don't even mean speech. I mean living. I mean truly living, meaning the voice is an outward expression of what you're internally connected to. Right? So as I'm teaching my teenagers, I can observe, and we all get the opportunity to observe from the 5,000-foot view our lives. And I get to observe my kids, my team, people I'm in relationship with. I practice that in myself. And I get to look down and go, hey, is it 80% or is it 20%? And I just say, flip it. I say, flip it. If you're in 80% fear, anxiety, irritability, staying stuck, if 80% of your world is that, then flip it. Make that your mission. We're always going to have, ego voice. It's never going to go away fully. But can we diminish the percentage of how often we live in it?
Right. And the hurtful parts of the ego. Yes. I like it. I can imagine. I think you need a t-shirt. It just says, flip it.
Flip it. We did it. It's so funny that you said that. I did a retreat with my team, and everybody got a spatula, a colorful spatula, and we did a flip it exercise. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh, what did you do?
Yeah.
I got to ask about this. What is the exercise?
So the exercise is you pair up with a partner and you tell them a story, like a really painful story, something from your past. Okay? And you share it in as much depth as you can in a few minutes. Okay? And then you have to immediately flip the story to what you gained from the story, from that experience that was the most positive thing, and it made you the woman that you are today.
Now,
so you have to go through the pain of the story. You have to go through the pain of the story in detail. And, highlight the usual the suspects in the story. And then you have to, say the story in a way that frees you from it. And sometimes it's the first time that they've ever had to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just such an awakening. What a freeing experience.
That is so cool. Honestly, I have right now I'm thinking, of course, of my, dearest friends. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do that with them, right? But that is because you know what? How many people how many people struggled with finding the benefits of it?
Oh, they did. They did. But I'm pretty. I don't do the exercise, so I'm walking around and I'm listening and pushing in and gently pushing in. I mean, it's a safe environment to get vulnerable. And those are the kinds of things that I love spending my time doing. I think that's
a great way to lead. Yes, and you're giving. I love this about the voice, because now would you say that, but on the flip side of it, are they now using their true voice to express that story?
Correct.
Oh my God.
Correct.
That is gorgeous.
So the more that people do this exercise, this type of exercise, the more embedded it becomes, the more that people can do it quickly in the moment.
Right. Okay. This is, oh my gosh, this is a hot stuff right now. Okay. So I'm imagining right now some people are addicted to their non-true self. I need a word for this, non-true self, but non-authentic voice.
I like ego. I kind of like ego.
Okay.
I love Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. If you listen to it on audio, I mean, you're hearing the devil's voice. I mean, it's powerful, just if you think of it in that frame.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so I'm imagining here, some people, they're so unfamiliar, they don't know, they haven't been introduced to their true voice for so long, that they tell this other story, that when they flip all these stories, I love what you said, you're no longer haunted. There's freedom. And in that place, I do believe you can step up and lead, because what would you say? There's confidence. There's, what's
there's
gained?
An abundance of love. Self-love is sort of just oozes out, and that's the reverberation that the world needs.
Yes.
That self-love, that self-acceptance and that worthiness and that light. This is what you do. Light on living,
Yes. I know. I love light. I think that's the best. Well, for me, because I love that you originally started and said we have to lead ourselves.
Yeah.
So if we are this, the hurt ego, the shamed ego, the lack of thing, we are leading. We're just not leading people or ourselves to a place that we want to go.
Right. Certainly misery loves company. And so you can certainly be an influencer in that way.
Yes. Yeah.
I
have a question with leadership. Now, does leadership have to be lonely or tough?
I don't think so. I mean, certainly are there times when you feel like you're alone, because how should I say it this way? The people who are doing the work to evolve sometimes feel like they're alone. But the good news, the best news I can share is that more and more, this conversation is happening more and more, which is why we do masterminds, which is why we do group sessions. This conversation is getting loud and proud. This is not something that's quiet. This is more and more mainstream now.
That absolutely. Yeah. I just feel like, okay, now we need a T-shirt line for you. There's something I need loud and proud, or I'm doing the work to evolve. Well, the loud and proud really does go with the voice. On the live earlier today, I had shared with people, because a question came to me, and I thought, I'm going to ask this question. And I go, for me, sometimes right now, I literally need to like shush just for a second to hear my voice so I can gather my thoughts and go, okay, I want to ask this question. When we are trying to get to know our inner voice and work with it. Is there ever a time where we should ask anyone else about what we like say just we're so disconnected from our voice and we don't know where it is? Is there ever how do we identify the right people to talk to and ask them about who we are and what we should be hearing and doing?
That's a very good question. I think certainly the folks that are closest to us, however, best friends may not be the right people. I don't even think professionals are always the right people. I feel like it's so beautiful that you brought this up because I have seen such amazing growth from the people in my masterminds. It becomes this, and there's like 6 or 7 people that go once a week together, that talk once a week, and after a period of 3-6 months, you get to know the people. And so it's a sphere of safety where there's no competition, there's allowance of vulnerability. So, I mean, that's where we got to seek and develop those kinds of environments where we can ask for that kind of feedback.
I love that. And then, yes, I have to write this down. So a positive, I like that. No competition, a safe place to be vulnerable, creating, and it takes time. It maybe, have these conversations to create an environment which supports, and you know what, we all take our turn leading then. And I guess that's how the change.
Absolutely. And everybody talks in the mastermind. Everybody talks. It's not just like, I'm the leader and I do all the talking. I do the least amount of talking.
You're facilitating. Mm-hmm. You're holding that space and just, actually, that's a great, would you, comment to the point where Lead Amazing Woman Lead is, I'll ask you what you believe that title represents to you and how masterminds will play a role in this.
So for me, I'm just welcoming more and more women to take a look at masterminds. I think it's something new for many, and that's part of, for me, what I'm going to be offering in the next few weeks. I'm starting one on April 15th.
Ooh.
And I'm not starting one. I'm starting a whole push. It could be 10 with women all across the country. Yay!
Awesome!
So,
oh my gosh!
Yeah. So there'll be a nice wave of opportunity for women all across the country to do this, to be committed, to be connected, and to create that space over a period of a few months. Yeah.
Okay, and on that note, actually, could you let people know right now, because I want to be a part of this. So I'm thinking, okay, how do we connect with you to be committed, connected, and create this wave where we are all in a mastermind having an opportunity to speak and we are all leading each other and helping each other. So how can we get in touch with you?
So you can anybody who's interested, just go head over to my website, which is denabcoaching.com, and then just drop in your name and email, and I will send out as soon as it's all ready to go, we'll send out the information. You can also find me on Facebook, Dena Breslin. You can find me on Instagram, send me a private message, dena.happyfreak, and, or find me on LinkedIn. Dena Breslin on LinkedIn. I mean, any of those social media spots, just message me and I will, and say, I'm one a mastermind. I want to find my voice or, that kind of thing, and we'll get you going.
I think that's a beautiful thing. I didn't know this. I'm loving that this conversation ends up going to mastermind. I will say my first mastermind that I was a part of changed my life, and that was back in 2013-14. I could never have imagined that, and it did. It ended up being, it led me to a point where I was able to lead. And so thank you, first of all, for creating this space, not just one, but 10, just do a push of them.
Yeah.
With Lead Amazing Woman Lead, and with this particular book, because we've got Rise, Amazing Woman, Rise. I mean, Marsha's just, creating this beautiful, amazing woman nation. Your role, yes, I understand. Yes, I know you're doing this, the masterminds, but what is your best way to lead, best advice or coaching practices to let people know how to use their inner voice? What can they do in their life right now with that inner voice?
Well, the first thing I would say is, because you brought this up, that a lot of times we're not even aware of it. We're not even aware of the difference. So I would just say begin with pause. Begin with 5 minutes a day of quiet. I mean, that, we're doing that more and more, right? In all different venues, whether it's healthcare or education. I mean, we're talking, that mindfulness is being talked about, but are we doing it? Are we getting quiet for 5 minutes so that we can actually listen as the thoughts pass, watch as the thoughts pass, let them pass, identify with, oh, is that real? Is that true? And in the chapter, I encourage you to get the book. Anybody who's listening, get the book, Lead a Mating Woman Lead, because I'm going to go through that, how to discern. There are a couple of different exercises we can do, but one is just really, if I could give one right now, it's just to carve out 5 minutes a day to pause and just really just hear your true self voice coming up.
And when you say that, you mean put the phone down, put all the things around you down, not pause to listen to something else, aren't you? Right. I have to highlight that because that's just to really do that. I get myself a little cup of tea, and I always kind of just like, oh, nope, I've got to be present here. Oh,
it's amazing what your day can be like. Thank you for that clarity. It's amazing what your day can be like when you have set the intention for the day by just pausing and taking some me time. I already felt like just kind of filled up thinking about it, like just even thinking about having that time, felt good. Oh, yeah. Well, I absolutely hope that so many people, it's women and men for the mastermind? Yes, we could do, yes. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whoever would feel the need that would love to take a more active role in specific and effective leadership with listening to their voice and using their voice, please contact Dena Breslin, and it's denabcoaching.com. That's where I'll send them to for you for now. And I just love having this conversation. It's got me all fired up.
Oh, good. Lise, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, Dena. I will be in touch because I want to be a part of the masterminds as well. And everybody, we're going to be right back with our second guest for Lead Amazing Woman Lead interview series. Okay, when we're back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millicers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
This was The Voice?
Yes.
Awesome. There's so many topics.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the second half as we continue the series for Lead Amazing Woman Lead. And this is where I'm doing Beyond the Pages interviews. I love talking with the co-authors, yes, about, which essential power of mastering their mission they've chosen, but to take it a little bit beyond. And we did talk about, just in the first half there with Dena, we talked about the leadership voice, like your inner voice, your true voice. But you know what? There's a foundation that is needed to be able to use that voice. And that's why we have Tonya Busby here with us as we go into the 6th essential power of mastering your mission. And that is with self-love. And I'm going to read her quote here and bring her on. But Tonya says there was, oops, nope, that was not Tonya. Sorry. She says that self-love is powerful. Self-love is essential, and self-love is the foundation for accessing our sacred gifts. And Tonya, I would love to just share about you, and so people know, what's going on and who you are. And I apparently am trying to pull it up, and it is not here. So I'm going to come back to it in just a second. But I want to just I'll ask you if you want to share your main titles. I have Dena's twice. That's why in front of me. Look at that. And see self-love here. That we all make mistakes. With Tonya, what is your title and what is it you do and why did you choose to go with self-love as essential power?
Well, my title is, I guess, Jack of all trades. No, most of all, I'm a human being, and I'm a woman that,
yes.
Those are my 2 top gifts. But also, I have my master's in health science, and I'm also, I do coaching, but I'm an executive marketing and sales, I guess you would say. Okay. And so with self-love, that's interesting because you think about self-love and, some people might have been waiting to say she's a healer and all this, but marketing and sales, I feel like you really do have to have this beautiful, self-love and your career can be good from it too, actually. Exactly. And yes, I believe, that we're all healers and I believe that I definitely can heal and take care of, myself and my life. However, it's taken a lot of self-healing to get to that point. So, just the topic of self-love is just so special and enduring to me, because it's not something that I've always held and had on my own.
You know what? And as I do find my lovely little bio of you, I want to share this part of it that was really important is that everybody, Tonya is a sought after speaker in recovery on self-acceptance. And this is why I wanted to share this. You're a passionate advocate for women breaking free from domestic violence and codependency and calling upon her own experiences. Tonya co-facilitates Owning Your Power workshops where she's valued as a voice. Oh, that's funny. Voice of experience, strength, and hope. And I'm so glad that I did pull that up to find that because you did share that you have a master's degree in the health science and public health, but the recovery of self-acceptance, and this is where that love is going to come from, and helping women so passionately break free from domestic violence and codependency. Can we just sit on there for a second? Could you share with us what is a when you say codependency, what does that look like and why is that so harmful?
Wow. And absolutely we can sit there for a second. When I look at codependency, there's so many different ways to people can have different portions of codependency. For me, it's something that it has affected me where there was a time when I was looking outside of myself for the answers. I was looking outside of myself for acceptance. I was looking outside of myself for validation. And I didn't realize, and a lot of that had to do with, my upbringing. And, I was an only child. I also, had a parent in recovery. And therefore, I became it's so funny because for me, it's hilarious. I used to say, I never thought that word codependent would ever even apply to me because I'm such a strong, independent, self-sufficient woman. I think I was born that way. And that has nothing to do with codependency, and which is so funny because the words can kind of get intermingled. You know how we can trick ourselves with words. And but today I can say I can totally agree with lots of the portions, different portions of codependency. Not necessarily having to link on somebody for their worth, but just that self-worth, that self-love, that knowing that alone that I'm okay and alone with my higher power is what I'm saying. Not any vehicle, not any home, not my children. Although I love my children with all of my heart, and I'm my wife. I love my family. I'm a very family-oriented person. But at one time, that was all my worth was. That's all I knew. All I knew was that I was Ricky, Brene, and Jane's mom. That's all I knew. Like, I knew that was my worth. I didn't know I was, helpful to other women. I knew I was a good employee. I didn't know I was a great student. I didn't know like who I was. I was a very young mom. I had my first son when I was 17 years old. So that explains a lot of why I didn't know who I was. So between that and kind of being a latchkey kid, my mom did a great job raising me the best she could. And for me, I kind of had to stay in the house a lot. But, that's okay. That's okay. But, because of the fact that, I was safe. But there's just a lot of tools and lifelong, survival tools that I wasn't able to gain. And I had to learn them. And I learned really quick. I had to learn them. But there's just layers of life that came, on to me that I had to, experience. And when I woke up, one day I was in my 30s and I was like, wow, I didn't know what my favorite things were. I knew what my favorite things were in my current relationship, and when I was together as a family with my 3 children and their father at that time, but I didn't know who I was by myself. I had never gained that experience. And so I like sharing that with other women because I realize that I'm not the only woman out there that has had that struggle of not knowing who they were. I realize there's women that never find out who they are. They die never knowing who they are. They're just so-and-so's husband or so-and-so's mom, but that's the only thing or only title that they were ever able to gain. And for me, I've always known there was so much more. I just didn't know how to figure that out. And so when I say self-love is the essence of who I am today, I've been able to work through self-love for myself so that I can gain understanding and know that, yes, I may be my children's mom, but I'm also other things. And I love that. I love that. I've been able to discover who I am authentically and not be so concerned about what other people think. And be okay with being myself regardless of if you're okay with me being myself. And that to me is self-love.
That is, I love the self-love part. When you say about some of us may only know what we do. Like, this is what I do for a living, this is in my mom role, but we don't know who we are. And I love that you said, you didn't even know what your favorite things were, and you didn't know who I was when I was by myself. And I'm putting this question out to all the listeners right now who, if you suddenly stopped, if you were to ask yourself, not have somebody else ask you, because we're going to have like a response, I think, that if somebody asked, me, like, what is my favorite thing? I have that thing that I would tell other people. But what is that really my own favorite thing? If I'm by myself, is that my favorite thing? I wonder if that's different. If we, what the outside world, how we would answer versus how would you answer yourself? Would that have changed for you?
Well, I think so, and I might have gotten the question just a little confused. Do you mind? Can you repeat that? Or
I just wonder, as we love ourselves more, I guess, know ourselves more, love ourselves more, I'm wondering if our answers about ourselves would change, because we might have a set answer, like when we don't really know ourselves and somebody asks us, oh, what's your favorite thing? Or, we might have a set response we always say. But really, if we sat back and knew ourselves and loved ourselves more, understood ourselves, I wonder if we would get deeper and if those answers would change because we'd get to know ourselves deeper.
I love that question. I'm so glad that I asked it. I just got a little distracted for a moment.
I probably asked it really all over the place.
No, I love that. You know what? The answer is first of all, my favorite thing right now might be that I like to travel, because that's the thing that got in my life, that came to my life, that just made me get on fire about life and made me realize, oh my God, this is something I love to do. But if that's the only thing that I've done, then I haven't, expanded my horizon to new things. Well, maybe I start hiking and I realize, wow, hiking feels even better. It feels even more self-fulfilling than travel. So my new thing might be in 6 months that my favorite thing might be hiking. I guess what I'm saying is being in self-love it's not stagnant. It's ever changing, because I'm okay with learning new things. I'm open and willing to try new things. The big thing for me is being open and willing. I hadn't realized how shut off I was from having this openness and willingness to try new things. When I just, if a person says something and my first thing in my mind is, oh no, or I can't do that, or, even if it's in my mind, not even coming out of my mouth, I've learned to discipline my thinking just because it's not something I know, or just because it's not something, or maybe I'm even ignorant of it. It's something I have no experience. It's no should not be my first response. What about saying, can you explain that a little bit more? Or, oh, I've never heard of that. I would love to hear your experience. There's so many ways to discover new things and to have that evolution of favorite things and that being ever changing if I am open. But if everything's always no, or if I'm in denial, myself in denial of just being open. I was in denial of being open at one time. I could be in denial of being open later on today. It's like a constant work, constant meditation is huge. Sitting still. Dana was just talking about this previous to me. Sitting still and asking my God, my higher power to help show me and to be open and to help me to understand and not be so closed-minded. Because if I'm closed-minded, there's no way I'll be able to evolve in my favorite things or involve in my self-love, because I'm not willing to try anything new and I'm putting myself in a bubble.
I love that you actually said that. Two things there, which are huge for me, is for self-love. You said, about being, it's ever changing, it's evolving, there's growth to it. And that is the exact superpower, essential power, I called it a superpower, the essential power we do need in leadership, in leading, because if we don't change and if we don't evolve and go deeper and learn more and understand more, that's not going to make a really good leader, right? We need that. The skills in leading. And I've often, I learned this years and years ago. I went to counseling coaching because I wanted to grow. And I remember learning at that time what a definition of love was. And I remember hearing it's to be interested in, to be curious about, to care about, have concern. And that's, to me, like when you hear that, that's what now you're asking yourself those questions, like you're asking to understand yourself more, to learn about yourself more, to what interests you. And that self-love is really, how is that showing up for you and how you lead? How are you using that self-love to show others how to lead themselves in life?
That's a great question. Well, first I had to heal. I had to heal, and I had to learn to trust people. We talked about in the introduction about domestic violence and going through that, and that's not. It's so funny because I thought at one time, oh, if I just change this relationship, I'll be healed, and it obviously that doesn't work that way. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of getting out of denial, that just moving from one relationship or to another, moving from one relationship to the next thing that I thought was the biggest and brightest thing. that wasn't the answer. The answer was to really dig deep and for me to really get into my childhood and to just see where some of the it's not a negative thing, but just to see where some of those, discrepancies in my life needed to be forgiven and to be healed so that I could let go of them. One of the things I had done for so long is I just figured, you know what, as long as if I don't talk about it, it's not there, which is denial. If I don't tell anybody that I'm suffering, that I'm not going to be able to heal. And once I started opening my mouth and saying, hey, I need some help, I don't have all the answers, and I'm in pain, then I was able to heal that. And it's so funny that the longer I hold on to things and keep them inside of me, the worse they get. I don't know about you, but so I realized I was counterproductive to my own healing. So now, so one of the things, the way I'm able to help other women is because I'm sharing with them my own personal experience that of healing that has worked very well, only because I learned, I did things the way that they were suggested. I've had mentors and coaches to help me along the way, and like you mentioned counseling. I've done some things along the way to help me, and so. The first thing that I did was I had to identify the denial of my own authentic self, realize that I was not being true to who I was. I was the stellar employee, and I thought that that's who I was. I knew I was, like I said, the parent, and I thought that's who I was. I was just the titles, what society wants us to have, or, what we think society wants us to have typically. Those are the things I achieved, and those are the things that I was. But I realized that that's not truly who I am. That's just a part of me. That's not all of me.
It's what you're able to offer and deliver, but you have to be coming from that place. Like you were a stellar employee because you were coming from a place of, were you? I guess not pride. Like you loved yourself. So when you come from that place, you can be even a better employee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then your limits, you're learning your limits and just learning to listen more than I talk, and to take things in and realize that I don't have to be the answer to everybody else's problems, that I can take care of myself and do things. And I used to be like this super employee. I was just, every goal that that they put in front of me, I reached. And, and I realized, and I still do. I've reached goals, and I reached the goals that my employer and that I want to reach on my own company. I reached those goals. However, not so much as a compulsion, like a workaholic, but more so in timing. I'm learning to just time and pace myself and to do things in a way that we're balanced. Balance is very important to me today. I should have a little fun. I should have a little work, and I should also have time to regroup and love myself so that I can continue to be full and not burn out.
I'm imagining, I love it right now. I'm picturing you at work right now, in my brain, and I'm imagining you're reaching for goals. And I love what you said. I've learned where my limits are. And I thought, oh, wait, that sounds like an opposite of a leadership, but let me think about this. So that is a huge point, I think, because when you learn your limits now, because you have self-love and you're aware of that and you do care about yourself, what do you do now when you learn your limits versus what you did before when you didn't love yourself?
Oh, my God. When I know, when I reach my limit, it's like, okay, it's time for me to go take care of myself, and it's a beautiful thing, same thing with work. It's like, I've peaked out for today. I've done all I can do. I'm not going to work all night, but I'm going to go and take care of myself. And, self-care is all kinds of things, whether, reaching reaching my limit for me has been able to create the balance that I need in my life for other areas, my relationships, my myself, my my family, my just me time. Me time is like I'm an only child. It's so funny. So there's so many years I thought I did well being by myself, did well being alone, but at least I did for what I thought I was doing at that time. But for today, it's like, wow, if I'm going to, when I have time like all by myself, it's like gold, it's like platinum. I can go, to go meditate for 5 minutes. I'm to the point now where I can drive. I drive a lot, and I can drive to just pure silence and enjoy it, and thank God for thank God for peace. Thank God for peace and quiet, because I tell you, knowing my limit is knowing when I need some peace and quiet. And that's a gift to be able to know that today. So yes, I agree with you on that. That's a gift.
That's amazing. So this is huge, because that is a great way to display leadership, knowing your limits and using self-love to recognize, okay, I love myself enough to say this is my limit, and because of it, now self-care is going to kick in, balance is going to be had, because I'm not going to be overextending on one area and draining myself and making myself irritable, and that's not really self-lovey. And I can see how that would be an effective way to step into a leadership role, even in yourself. And so that really is a lot of self-love. I'm loving this. That's beautiful. And with you right now, how are you inviting people to join any of your coaching areas, like with your care, or how are you inviting people to step into their role as a leader?
I'm launching, and it'll be on my website, a coaching program. And for me, particularly, my focus is on women. I like to work with women that are in recovery, from, whether in recovery from, alcohol or addictions, and also recovery from domestic violence. So those are the areas that I typically like to focus on. And I have, they can reach out to me for, the coaching programs and packages that I offer. But awesome. Yes, that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. And I love working with women, and I also do service and volunteer work as well. And that keeps my heart full. That's something that I do, that, just to give back. But I absolutely have coaching programs that I offer as well.
Okay, so we're going to invite them to you right now. Is the best way to do is go to your Facebook page or grab on your email?
It would be, I have a website. It's Tonya Busby, Tonya Busby, Busby 14 at gmail.com. That's my email. And then my website is tonyabusby.com. And the company is Lost Sacred Gifts, which goes to the same place, lostsacredgifts.com. And that's where I help women to find their lost, sacred, internal gifts that they may have lost, and they're feeling, without worth, or feeling, low, or just have gone through some of the struggles that I have gone through. The coaching program helps them to lost sacred gifts, to find those gifts again, and to become whole, and just find those things that they'll be passionate about again.
I like that word right there, to be passionate again. So, and I think that's a great way to help people recognize. If you're listening, you're like, how do I know what I've lost? Well, the thing is, if you're not feeling passionate about things in your life, if you're not feeling passionate about really having self-care be a part of your routine, then that's where I would invite people, to reach out to Tonya Busby and find out what those programs are. Whether you said you love to work with women with alcohol or addictions, or have left an abusive relationship or trying to leave, and yes, you're just feeling, I need to be passionate about life again. And I think that you'd be a lovely person to have them reach out and get some coaching and some support on, and finding the way to lead. With your chapter, so Marsh Angles put together the book for you guys. She always attracts the most amazing authors. I love you guys all. and
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the book, everybody, is Lead, Amazing Woman Lead. And as we're learning, we lead from a very deep inner place from ourselves, and it's ourselves first and then others. And would you have any final sharing moments about self-love and how we lead with that as we say goodbye?
I do. You know, one of the things, and one of the other things I left out is the empty nester, the woman that is the empty nester, which is who I am today. I'm an empty nester. So,
yes.
Boy, I tell you, if you're sitting there with no kids and that's all you knew and you're trying to figure yourself out, I'm a great person to work with for, my coaching program. Because, there is life after children growing up. There is life after the empty nest. And it's amazing. I love my life today. Life is such a gift. Life is such a gift. And if you're not feeling like your life is a gift, then please contact me.
I love that. Tonya, that was perfect, actually. I think there's a lot of women who would be going through that. So I think that you really lit up there. I think that you will be traveling with a lot of empty nesters. So everybody, Tonya Busby, thank you so much for us, and join us next Monday as we hit more essential powers to mastering your mission. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. We'll see you next week. Bye, Tonya.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.